Good evening, everybody. My name is Andrew Spirit, and welcome to Sunday Lives. We just started this new idea I have with Q&A and thought exchange, sharing information, and I've decided that I'd like to go live every Sunday, similar to what I do on Thursday on Facebooks, but on Sundays I won't be doing psychic messages. This is more for group interaction, participation, and I'm just looking for your topics of interest and questions you may have about spirit, guides, angels, energy, and anything along the lines of spiritual development. And last Sunday we kicked it off, and once the group grows and gets bigger, I may start to include psychic messages like I do on Thursdays. I'm not sure yet, but at this point, this is more for our learning and education, and like I said, sharing and exchanging ideas, thoughts on spiritualism. And I'm going to do my best to answer whatever questions you may have. There may be a few exceptions, for example, tarot and working with crystals, which I don't do, so I won't be of much help there. But pretty much anything else, I think I'd be able to give you some insights. So this is your first time, welcome. We started this last week, Sunday, and I aim to go live on YouTube every Sundays as well now, probably any time between late afternoon to early evening, mid-evening. I don't have a set time yet. It depends on my availability. But as I mentioned, this is more for sharing and learning and growing together. So let's see how big we can get the group going and just learn what we can from each other. This is for anything spiritual. Thank you again to those who joined last week and who are sharing on their social media platforms. I will also share my Facebook link in the comments. I do lives every Thursday on Facebook, psychic messages, where I'm guided to channel messages for certain individuals tuning in. But for now, I'm just looking to get an idea of what you need help with, topics of interest. If you're having any challenges or difficulties or trying to understand certain gifts or extrasensory perceptions you may be experiencing, sensing spirit in any way, but you're not quite sure how to manage your energy and or work with it, send me your questions and I'll do my best to help you out. So like I said, feel free to share your comments and questions. I'd love to teach and mentor with spiritual development as well. So I'm happy to share with you what I can. And if you'd like to invite some like-minded friends to join in, message them now. And I'm going to be doing this. My goal is to do this every single Sunday, similar to I do on Thursday. So we'll just hang around for a little bit. I'll stay online for a while and see if there's any interest, any questions for this evening. So I look forward to your topics. We're not doing psychic messages yet on the Sundays. This is just information. So fire away with your questions if you have any topics of interest or concern. The floor is yours. So this is a group exchange of energy. So let's participate. Questions, anything that may be on your mind. Oh, and again, please invite your friends to subscribe, tune into my YouTube channel as well, especially those that are on that watch me on Facebook. This is just for information sharing. So I'm just going to stick around online for a while and see if there's any questions or topics of interest. So take a minute or two, and if there's anything you'd like to ask or learn more about, energy-wise, spirit guides, angels, healing, I'll do my best to answer and help you out. Okay. And I think while we're waiting, I'll just post a comment for people to see so they have an idea of what this is about. Okay, so I've just posted, firstly, I posted my Facebook link in the comments. So those of you who'd like to tune in on Thursday evenings, that's specifically for psychic messages. That's on Thursdays. Today, Sunday, with my YouTube channel, this is more of a Q&A session, questions you may have about spiritual development, energy guides. This is not any, I won't be channeling any messages for people from spirit or from loved ones. This is more for spiritual development, information, developing your own gifts, energy. This is more for personal interest and exchanging information and thought exchange. So this is more for educational purposes. But please join me on Thursdays as well, where the entire session on Thursdays on Facebook will be psychic messages. The link's in the top of the comments. And thank you for inviting friends on your social media. Have them tune in and join in, whether they're looking for potentially a psychic message on Thursdays or on Sundays, if they're looking for more information to develop their skills, hone their abilities, or just in general want to learn more about the spirit realm and guides and energy and healing, have them join us. So please subscribe and share, invite some like-minded friends. My goal here is to grow a nice, good-sized group that is looking for information that will help them move forward with their spiritual gifts, their spiritual interests, working with energy, understanding energy, other people's energy, and so forth, anything along those lines. So I will be online for a little while longer, and just to see what the interest is. So last Sunday was our first real session that kicked off with questions and answers. It was a good participation, and hopefully in the next few weeks the group will grow a lot bigger. So please spread the word far and wide, and let's see what we can share in the group. Okay, so Indigo Roses, I'm just going to have a look at your question here. Thank you for the question. The question: would you advise on how we can best fine-tune our spirit connections to keep? Okay. So when it comes to monkey mind, for myself personally, and for many other people, one of the absolute most valuable tools is consistent meditation. There are 100 different ways to meditate. So if you can just find a style or method that works for you, whether it's dead silence, guided meditations, listening to background music, meditating outdoors in nature where possible. It doesn't matter how you meditate, it's what works for you. And the key is consistency, not the duration. So if you can only manage 5 to 10 minutes a day of meditation, it's better to do that every day than do 4 hours once or twice a week. It's about the consistency, not the length of time that you meditate. Some people can tolerate half an hour, others not so much. So it's work with what you're comfortable with. Just try and set a goal of 5 minutes. 5 minutes a day, but do it every single day. And eventually see if you can stretch that to 7 minutes and then to 10 minutes. So number one for me is meditation, to settle the mind. Another thing would be, and this is just my personal opinion, is some form of physical activity to expend energy. I find that, and this is a generalization, that it's more prevalent in males that have energy that needs to be expelled and expended and burnt up. I find that I need to kind of wear myself out a little bit physically on most days to feel more settled and peaceful in the mind. So what I do is Monday to Friday, I will go to the gym and have a physical workout. I average under an hour. It's always little less than an hour on average, 5 days a week. But I focus and I just get it done as quick as I can, and I really push myself and I just expend all the energy I can, and I make sure I walk out of there tired. And I find that actually helps me to do things a little slower, a little calmer, actually a lot calmer. And reason being is I'm, especially straight after a workout, I'm too tired or exhausted to feel anxious or fidgety or rush things. My body's tired. It just wants to relax, rest, and replenish carbs and energy that it needs to get through the rest of the day. So I find meditation and physical activity helps me tremendously with that. If physical activity is not your thing, aside from meditation, reading or watching spiritually inclined videos, so gurus, spiritual leaders you may enjoy very much. The examples are countless, from Eckhart Tolle. Some of my favorites would be Eckhart Tolle, Teal Swan, Wayne Dyer is also very good, Abraham Hicks. So if you watch spiritual, inspiring videos that have a lot of deeper, helpful, useful information, affirmations, and things like that, I find whatever you engage your attention into also depends how your body's going to feel, how your body responds. So what you think about, what you listen to, music is another thing. Meditation and music, what you listen to, everything has a vibration. So what you give your attention to will have an effect on your feeling center and your mind. So if you're watching something disturbing, violent, unpleasant, your mind's going to feel and be a certain way. If you listen to something that's very relaxing, very peaceful, and vibrationally stimulating in a positive way, you're going to feel more settled. Your body's going to feel calm and relaxed. You're going to breathe more comfortably. So those things for me are some of the best things at work to keep the monkey mind down. So engage in things that make you feel good. Listen to things that make you feel good and comfortable. Pay attention to how your body feels vibrationally. Whenever you're looking at something or someone, listening to something or someone, whether it's talking, music, course information, whatever it is, just pay attention to how your body feels. Your body will give you a signal or a sign as to how it's feeling at any given point in time, depending what you are focusing on. So Indigo Roses, thanks so much for that excellent question. Hope that helps you out enough. If not, just let me know, message me again, and I'll try and help you further. But those are the biggest key ones for me. And I'm going to move on to the next one from Leon. Leon, about why messages come through dreams. So typically when you're in the dream state, asleep, your eyes are closed, you have no visual distractions, it's quiet, your ears aren't paying attention to the sounds around you when you're working, driving, shopping, etc., etc. So all the physical senses are not being distracted. Your body is asleep. It's been given permission to rest and restore. So it's the easiest possible time for spirit and guides to come through the veil and send you some sort of message or guidance. When you're in the dream state, you are at the most relaxed, undisrupted, undisturbed state. It's usually the very early hours of the morning, and that's the best time for spirit to potentially reach you. And one of the best ways they do that is to send you dreams. They use a universal language that's not always in English or French or whatever you call it. It's a universal symbolic language in the form of a dream. And hopefully when you wake up, whatever you can remember, it's best to write down as much details as you can of the dream, because it usually dissipates. We forget our dreams. I forget my dreams. So that's why messages often come through dreams. It's the best possible chance that guides have of reaching us, especially those of us who are not trained at intuitively tapping in, kind of like what mediums and psychics do, and practice listening to spirit. Most people don't have the patience to sit in meditation day after day, because you can also develop your connection that way. If you sit and meditate every day and connect with your guides that way, that's another way of receiving messages, but it takes time and individual results vary. So the easiest way Spirit tries to reach you is in the dream state. And even that's not that easy. But thanks for that excellent question as well, Leon. 2 great questions. Very, very helpful. And if you need more explanation, just fire away, comment away, and like I said, I'll share whatever I can with you. And if you know of anybody else like-minded that would benefit or has interest in this, invite them to tune in, maybe even have them watch the replays. So all these lives should be available as replays afterwards. I'm not as familiar with YouTube as I am on Facebook, but I'm assuming that these lives will be easily available and accessible once the live's over. So yeah, send me whatever thoughts, questions you may have, and I'll be online for a little while still. So we'll just going to see how it goes until it grows into a bigger group like the Thursday lives. And okay, I've got another question here. Okay, with regards to Indigo Rose's question, as for recommending a specific amount of time to connect to Spirit, an hour every day is an excellent amount of time. It is quite a bit. If you can manage it, fine, but it's not necessary to do a full hour. When I have a meditation circle in my home, we usually go for approximately an hour, but it's not necessary to go that long. You've got to do what kind of works for you. Everybody will respond differently. So if you can comfortably manage being still and peaceful and quiet for an hour, do so. If it's a bit of a challenge, you can break it down to half an hour, even 20 minutes. And as long as it's consistent. So you don't have to do an hour or break it down to 20 minutes 3 times a day. You can do 20 minutes once a day. So it's not necessarily the length of time, it's how often you do it. So every day is the best way. It's ideal. That every day can be an hour every day, or it can be 20 minutes every day. One is not necessarily better than the other. You've got to meditate in a way that's comfortable for you. So if you only have the tolerance for 20 minutes, do your best to be still and peaceful for 20 minutes a day, and that'll be enough. The only important thing is doing it daily and trying not to make the meditation too perfect or too peaceful. Some days will be better than others. Some days will be very disruptive and distracting. The point that, which is fine. It doesn't matter that some of your meditation days are going to be more disruptive. The point is, as long as you showed up and you did it, that's all that matters. So sit as peacefully as you can. Depending on what kind of day you've had or are having, that's going to have a bit of an influence on how your meditation goes. And like I said, it will vary from day to day. All you have to do is show up and do it. Put in your 20 minutes or an hour or whatever time you feel. And do your best to sit there with your peace and just being present. And if thoughts do come in, one key thing I recommend is do not try to push them away or force them out. By doing that, you're actually keeping them there longer because you're giving them your energy and your attention. The best is to make as if you are hovering just above your mind like an observer. And as the thoughts come in, just let them hang around. Regardless of what the thought is, just let it linger there without judging it or being partial or impartial to it. If it's a good, pleasant, humorous, or even destructive, negative thought, regardless, just let it linger around and let it leave in its own time. By not giving it your focus, your energy, or trying to label or judge it, you're not feeding it and holding it there. And eventually it's going to move on because it doesn't have your energy or your attention keeping it there. So all you have to do is be as peaceful as you can. It's all about consistency and intention. No meditation has to be absolutely perfect. You will have thoughts coming in and out. So hope that helps you out. Okay, next question here is with regards to Charlie's question. If someone was not the best possible person in terms of their behavior when they were alive. They still have free will choice when they pass over to the other side. So if they choose to turn their life around and balance out their karma, they can absolutely come back and act as a spirit guide for someone else and help them in a positive way to compensate for the way they were in the physical. So there's always compensation and retribution. So whatever you did to one extreme, you've got to karmically balance it out in another, whether it's another lifetime, another dimension, or in the same lifetime. You have to balance things out sooner or later. So yes, a person who is negative, considered bad or negative, can change and turn around, and they don't have to stay negative, but they have free will, so they can choose how long they wish to take to turn their life around and be more of a positive influence. So excellent question, Charlie. Very good question there. Free will choice. So some take longer than others. Some are more headstrong or resilient, or it's not resilient, resistant. But everybody has the free will to turn their life around and be more of a positive help than anything else. So yes, and thank you for the excellent question. Okay, Leon's question about cards. When working with oracle cards, by the way, oracle and the more general cards I find are easier to work with than, say, tarot. When you're working with oracle cards, be open to interpretation. They don't have to be rigid and have specific meanings. An oracle card can have, say, one meaning for me and a different meaning to you. So basically, I like to advise people, especially with cards that are more open, like oracle cards, even angel cards can be more open to interpretation. It's go with what you're feeling, what your own inner vocabulary is telling you about a particular card. So when you work with a deck of cards, try to feel into the card and get an intuitive message or feeling or intuitive information about what the card means to you. If I were to handle the same deck of cards and pick the same card you did, my interpretation would probably be a bit different to yours, and that's fine. No, it's not about one's right and one's wrong. You've just basically used the card as a guideline, and then let that trigger your intuition, your intuitive ability, and then you come up with your interpretation of whatever your card is that you are reading. So the card is not a black and white, yes, no, right or wrong, 1 + 1 is 2. It's not. The cards are more of a guideline, and the cards will trigger a memory or a bit of information in your unique vocabulary that you will interpret in a certain way. So hope that helps you out, Leon, and thanks for the question as well. Great question. Next question from Indigo. Can our spirit guide be someone we knew in a past life? Absolutely. Some spirit guides have had human incarnations before. Some spirit guides were related to you in your family. They could have been great-grandparents. Sometimes even grandparents can come back as guides. They can be no relation whatsoever. So yes, some guides have had human lifetimes, some have not. And guides can be anything from shamans, relatives, neighbors, school friends from when you were little kids, doctors, medicine men and women, literally anything. They can be from other planets, other dimensions. Some guides that I have experienced and work with are kind of like they have half a human side and half a guide side. Some have some, I'd say, human characteristics or flares to them. Some don't. So, yep, your spirit guide can be anyone or anything from any dimension, any world, any planet. And we all have multiple guides. We have one main guide known as gatekeeper or doorkeeper that is with us from physical birth until our physical death. And aside from that, in addition to that, we also have other guides. Some stay long-term, some stay short-term, depending on what we're working through and learning and evolving through. And as we grow spiritually, we get upgraded guides. So we have a whole bunch of them. So, and you can have a guide that is shared with a whole bunch of other people. So, for example, you, a relative, a friend, and a whole bunch of other people could potentially share the same guide. Guides can be like angels, multidimensional. They can be 100 places at once and help many people at the same time. So another awesome question. Thank you, Indigo. Great question there too. So we can really tap into just about anyone and anything, especially once you cross over. When you're on the other side, you're connected to, when I say everything, I mean everything, every being, person, angel, guide, other, elemental, spirit totem animals, pets, deceased pets, wild animals, you name it, like the land, the ocean. You're connected to everything when you return to what I call home, the original home. Okay. Okay, and with regards to specific tools of divination, I've tried a few. Most of them do not want to work with me or don't resonate with me. Tarot definitely does not work for me. Crystals, neither do crystals. I have done a little bit of psychometry in the past where I'll hold an object in my hand. I very, very rarely do it unless I get asked to do it. If someone comes to me for a reading and they have something and they ask me, I usually will, but it's rare that I get requests for that. One thing I do have is I have one deck. I have a Spirit Totem Animal deck by Colette Baron Reed. She's the one who designed, created the deck. I seldom use them, but I have used them for myself, handful of times for other people. I rarely use them, but once in a while I actually get guided to pull them. And that's the only deck that I seem to actually enjoy. I had one other one before that was gifted to me, and it just didn't work for me. Never liked it. I ended up gifting it to a friend who in turn gifted me this pack, the Spirit Totem Animal deck, and that's the only one I've actually enjoyed using. So very rarely I'll use Spirit Totem Animal deck by Colette Baron Reed. Once in a while for myself, and for someone else when I get asked, but it is rare. So for the most part, I tap in directly with the person's energy. Usually all I need is the sound of their voice. Unless it's the Thursday Live, all I'm seeing is a name and a comment. So that is the most challenging way for me to connect, but I do it because it keeps me in great psychic shape. It stretches me. It's very challenging. And I think it helps me just stay in psychic shape. So that's why I do the Thursday Lives, because of the challenge. It's very challenging. So that's my 2 cents on tools. But other than that, no other tools seem to want to work with me. I wouldn't mind. Like, I'd be quite interested. I did try it. I like psychometry. I like holding objects, but I find objects don't really give me any advantage whatsoever. Sometimes even throws me off. So for me, it seems to work with just pure energy, telepathy, if I can put it that way. That's how spirit seems to want to work with me anyway. So I like to recommend play around with a whole bunch of different things. Try out all these tools of divination. You never know. Something might just really work well for you. If you feel drawn to something, try it out. It's good to see what does and doesn't work. But don't try and force yourself to learn to work with the tool just because you find it cool or you're excited or you find it interesting. Let spirit decide, or just allow spirit to work with you the way they want to. I've tried it. I'll give you another example. I would love to be able to see spirit with my physical eyes, like some of my students have and some people I know have. But I see everything in my mind's eye, in my third eye. So although I can kind of tell you where the spirit is standing, I don't see them with my eyes. Like if I'm looking in a room, I get it all in the mind's eye. I would love to see them physically, but spirit just doesn't show it to me that way. So I have to work with spirit and allow them to use me as a conduit the way they want to. Okay. Okay, about animals coming through. Do you know that immediately? What way can you tell? Okay, so when I'm picking up on animals, typically I will get a visual in my mind's eye. So I will see the shape of a dog. Um, it's not exactly as clear as like if you had to show me a photograph of a dog, but I will see the shape of it and generally the size of it. And then I'll get a feeling or a sensing, usually, not always, sometimes I get a sensing of the gender of the dog, how short or long the hair or the coat of the dog is. So I do get visuals. That helps me, especially with animals. I think probably because I'd need to get a visual to really differentiate. So I do see visuals. Same with people. Sometimes I'll get each reading's different. Some will be more clear. I'll see sometimes even the color of their hair, the build, more or less the height, the shape of them. So I get a combination of a visual and a sensing and sometimes other ways, but with animals specifically, I usually get visuals. Okay. So I'm pretty much always know between an animal and a person's energy. Marrow Moon, your question about that's actually interesting you ask that because often I don't pick up on it. So it has happened. It usually happens when it normally happens when someone has asked me to read them, when I'm having a one-on-one and someone's given me permission to connect with their energy, then I'll often pick it up. But if I'm just walking around or being around people, I usually don't pick up. And probably because I'm very non-intrusive, I don't just read people when I'm amongst them. I have to make an effort to allow spirit in. That's where I'm, in one sense, lucky, is spirit doesn't easily bombard me. They never wake me up. They can't really disturb me very easily. I have to really make an effort to let them in. So in one sense, I consider myself fortunate in that way. So I don't just randomly read people when I'm walking around them. I usually have to get their permission to connect, and then I can tell whether they're gifted similarly to what I am. Uh, Although I have other healer friends that they have the opposite thing where they struggle to keep spirit away from them and block the door and just keep it quiet. Some of them do get woken up in the morning. Some of them just randomly pick up things without wanting to. I don't have that. I don't think I'd mind it too much on a more subtle level, but I don't typically do it that way. So I don't randomly just read people. With names, Indigo with names, I don't usually get names with pets or people. Pets, almost never. Sometimes with people, the odd occasion I will get names more with people. With pets, I find much trickier. So with animals, pets, not typically. I'd say no, not for me anyway. Maybe because I don't connect with them as often as I do guides, people, and other things. But names I don't typically get. And that's just me. Like Mara Moon was just commenting, all mediums and psychics have their own flavor. They are unique. They work differently. Some have more clairvoyant gifts than others. Some use tools and some don't. And even the ones that do need tools, even if they need to use a tool or a deck of cards, they can still be amazing dynamite readers, and they can still be even better than some readers that don't use tools at all. So it's not that the tool is always necessarily a crutch. Sometimes it can be just amazing, phenomenal with some mediums that use tools. So it's not necessarily about better or worse. Each medium is just so unique. It's just about how they work, what their flavor is, how they do what they do. And yes, you do get different mediums and on different playing fields, different arenas. Like what I refer to as world super mediums or world-class mediums that have just been switched on since a very young age, or they're just that connected. So it's like anything else, different levels, but yeah, we all work differently. And sometimes you're meant to connect with a medium that's, say, far less experienced and gifted than another medium. So it's not always about insisting on connecting and being read by the best of the best. Certain people are just meant to resonate with others and work with each other, and certain mediums struggle to read certain people. Some people were just not able to bond with and would just not resonate well with. So it's not always about who's been doing it the longest or the best. You've got to trust your gut, your intuition, and work with who you resonate with. Okay. Do you have a protection ritual if you have to go into places? So, yep. So hospitals, nursing homes, things like that. For me, I don't have too much trouble with it. Maybe because it's more automatic with me. But when I do remember, and typically what I do is I just put a bubble around my auric field. I ground to Mother Earth or the core of the planet. I put a bubble of, there's no set rule. You can create your own ritual. There's 100 ways you can do it. Just put a bubble around you or white light yourself. And it's all about your intention. So if you intend to go into a place and just beam out positive energy or hearts or love at everyone and everything you're coming across or walking past, do that. Some are more sensitive and it takes more practice, but you can absolutely set a ritual. When I remember, I like to even white light my car, the roads I travel on. If the weather's bad, especially winter, I put on what I call my angel tires. I put an angel around each wheel of my car when I remember. So it's all about intention. Intention takes care of business. You can make up your own ritual. Your intention is what gets the job done, gets it done. So it's all about focus, just being very, very present when you're in a challenging building or place, and white lighting yourself, and do not feel fear. Don't feel fear or give in to fear. Just recognize that when spirit knows you can sense it or feel it, they want your attention. They're going to bombard you and crowd your space. It's not that the energy is destructive to you. It can drain you, but it's just, if you're a beacon of light, your attention is wanted and needed. So you can pretty much create your own ritual. Don't show fear, bubble yourself or white light yourself. Set the intention before you enter the building or as soon as you remember. And just try your best to act as if you're in charge of all the guides, all the spirits around you. And again, the rest is just up to practice. So it depends on your degree of sensitivity and how often you practice it. Okay. And as for items, I was just mentioning earlier about psychometry. Items can absolutely have spiritual attachment, especially heirlooms that have been handed down through the family generations, or items that were very sentimental to the person or the owner who had it. So sometimes you can hold a belonging from a past loved one and their energy will still be in it, attached to it. And it's often used as a tool it's called psychometry, where you are reading the energy of objects. So I've done it a few times, and depending on how sentimental or important that item was, it can absolutely hold energy. A stone can hold energy, a plant, anything and everything. Depends on how attached the owner of that item was, how long the energy was around it, generally speaking. But yes, absolutely, items can have spiritual attachment to them. So another good question. Great question there. And you can pretty much white light or protect anything you want, from your vehicle you travel in, your bicycle, your house, pretty much anything. And you can use incense, sage, other things. There's a lot of different rituals depending on the culture, the belief system, but you can pretty much, everything comes down to intention. That's one of the first things I was taught. It's all about intention. So you are all technically source or God, so you can create whatever you want. Your intention is what makes it happen or makes it work. Okay. 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 I'm interested about this is an interesting question from Leon. If you have strong intuition, and if you're watching a movie or reading and you know what's coming before you've read it or seen it, so I guess in general it can be very, very helpful where you're getting a heads up before it actually manifests, meaning it gives you an opportunity to maybe take a slightly different direction or plan of action, and you can improve the outcome or make it more comfortable or more helpful. So in that way, it's fantastic. I guess in terms of movies and books, I guess it could spoil the fun in a way. I don't tend to. Okay, I don't read a heck of a lot, but I don't tend to have that with reading. I find my intuition works when it's meant to kick in, when I need to know. I kind of just go. I'm very unassuming about it. I don't try to control it. I just I do my best to just roll with the moment and just be very unassuming and just act as if it's a brand new day and very little has happened and I don't know that much. And I try not to get too ahead of myself. I try very hard to stay out of the future. Staying out of the future can be very, very, it can cause a lot of stuckness because you'll never reach the future. You never get to the future. Nobody gets there. You can plan for it as best you can, but ultimately, source or the divine or your soul decides what's going to happen, when you're going to leave the earth plane, etc., etc. So you can do your best to plan, but you got to be totally detached from the outcome. It's kind of like having a pension or saving up for something or having a plan for when you retire. Sure, it's great having goals, and as long as you enjoy the steps that you're doing to work towards it. So if you're finding saving for a pension is making your life very challenging and tough and difficult and causing you to sacrifice a great deal, maybe a bit too much, and it's really burdensome or uncomfortable, you might want to rethink that pension strategy because you may or may not get to it. So plan what you can, but try and just live in the moment. Live for the today as well. So with regards to strong intuition, let it work for you when you need it. If you're looking for something just to entertain you, like a book or a movie, I'd say as long as it doesn't annoy you too much, just let yourself go into the movie or the book. If you find it spoiling your fun too often, then maybe try focusing your intuition on maybe try and practice reading people's energies. Get some guinea pigs and try and see if that might be even more fun than watching a movie or reading a book. See how intuitive you can get working live with other people's energies in that moment. So it's a big challenge. It's a bit daunting, but Leon, if you can maybe feel a bit comfortable doing that with some chosen, preferred, like-minded friends that you trust and are comfortable working with, that may be even more fun for you. Or maybe trying psychometry, reading objects, seeing where your intuition is more challenged, where you know you won't necessarily see exactly what's coming up before, like a book or a movie. That may help you. I don't know what you think about that, but that's just one suggestion that's come to mind. But excellent questions. Okay, Roberta Gardner, that's okay. Seeing 1111, I don't know a tremendous amount. I have one chart that has angel numbers, but it's only the multiples of 3. So from 111 to 119. Only thing I can tell you about 1111 is it's a very, very powerful spiritual number. It's a very positive sign. So nothing to worry about. It's a very good sign, seeing 1111. You could, my recommendation is Google the meaning of 1111, and you'll get a whole bunch of different interpretations depending on which site you go on and find. But I'd say look through a bunch of different interpretations and then pick out the common ones. Pick out the traits or the messages that are common to most of the different sites' interpretations, and go with that. So 1111 is very positive, very powerful, good sign. All I know is it's a very powerful spiritual number, and it usually has to do with a lot of positivity, positive change. So it's a good sign to see that. And angel numbers also, you get different interpretations, but I have one particular chart, and I like to say, if you are using a particular chart and it resonates well with you, go with that. If it seems off, then try something else. I prefer to get more louder. Like I tend to see more of the triple numbers in triplicate. So 555, 111, 333. They get my attention somewhat, but I like signs that are louder and clearer. And my biggest fascination is with people. So I very much like to work with people's energies and being face to face. I can last, this is very accurate. I can manage for about 2 days maximum, being by myself, not going out socializing, and just hanging out at home, basically being a bit of a homebody. I can last about 2 days. And then I start getting really, really antsy, and I have to break that. And I have to start, and I have to people. So that's just me. I can, like I said, I can do it 2 days. I can handle myself and my own company for about 2 days max. So that's just me. Everybody's different. And if you need more clarity on what I've shared, just please comment and ask, and we can expand on what we're talking about and just see where it goes. Okay, let's see. Next question here. How can we balance protecting ourselves from negativity with a strong white bubble, but also allow us to be open enough to let our spiritual intuition kick in when needed? Okay, so when I go into a place that some might be considered hard to handle, like nursing homes, hospitals, I find sometimes we can judge places based on what we learned or were told from years back that's still sitting in our subconscious. So, for example, hospitals can have a negative connotation because all the people in hospital are sick. There's medicine everywhere. It's sterile. It doesn't feel good. The people in there are not having a good time generally. So that can create a negative attitude or perspective. So when I go to a hospital, which is not often, but if I'm in a place like that, or say even a funeral home, at a funeral celebration of life, I basically try and walk around smiling at people. I make an effort. I make a point of watching what I'm doing with my energy field. So what kind of a vibe am I emitting? We are emitting a signal or a vibration 24/7, every second of every day, whether we are aware of it or not. So I try to be mindful of how I feel, because my signal is going out around me all the time. And because I do what I do, and my energy or my aura pushes out further than the average person, the more psychically open and in tune you are to spirit and energy, the more of an effect your energy has on those around you. So your vibration will push out further, and it will have a stronger influence on those around you. So I just basically focus more on what my energy is doing, and I just decide how I'm going to change the energy in the room or the space around me, whether it's 2 or 3 feet either way, or 8 or 10 feet in any direction from my physical body. I'm just deciding what kind of vibe I'm going to put out. So whether I'm sitting in a hospital room or at a funeral or a place where there's a lot of negativity, I'm just going to decide what I do with the space around me, and I push that energy out as far as I can. And that helps me pay more attention to how I'm feeling. So I'm paying attention to what my body's telling me. Your body will give you signals or feelings as to what thoughts are going in your mind and what vibes are around you. It'll tell you how it uses your body to show you what you're feeling. So if you're tense uptight, nervous, pay attention and ask yourself why. So I just basically try to not control, but determine what the space or the vibe is going to be around my body, my space. And I try and push it out as far as I can around me. So if you're stuck in a place that's very negative, do your best to reverse that energy. Push out your energy and make yours stronger than the energy around you. Not always easy, but is it through visualization? So that's one of the ways. For me, it's a combination. It's visualization, it's intention, and it's, when I say feeling, I try to, when I say recall or remember, I'm using not just my left brain to remember a memory. I'm also using my body and my emotions to remember a certain feeling, the best possible feeling I can recall. So I try to feel/remember the most uplifting sensation I can. And with that, I also use memory of, for example, music, especially live music. I love live music and it affects me very deeply. So I usually like to remember, violins are probably my favorite instrument. So certain types of violin music and guitar music. And I do listen to a lot of live music on a regular basis. I usually bring my memory to that. And then in addition to remembering that, I visualize maybe a certain band or group or instrument. And then I use my body's memory to remember what it felt like when those musical notes came through my body, if I can put it that way, because I feel music. Music elevates me. It's almost like I can get almost high, like a drug-free high with certain music. It can really push my vibration so high through the roof. I can, put up with it for hours. So I use visualization, feeling, thought, memory, and I just combine them all. Sounds a bit complex, so I hope that kind of made sense. It may work slightly differently for some of you, but that's what I do. Feeling and visualization. So hope that helps you out and answers your question. Also, just in general, make sure I give enough time to have a good balance of working, resting, and doing things I want to do, like for enjoyment. Even if it means, this may sound a bit not irresponsible, but sometimes, depending what I need, I would say I don't have time to work more, even if it means financially more. If I don't have the time to work more because I need rest, or I need to recharge my batteries, or I need to do some personal healing, I make sure I work on all areas. So if I have to forfeit some financial comfort, I will do that if necessary. So I make sure I have a good balance of work, play, rest. Everything is energy, everything's vibration. So if you want to work on your vibration/well-being, you got to look at rest, food. Food is energy. So depending on what you're ingesting, sound is energy. What are you listening to? Whether it's music, movies, people, what kind of conversations you're listening to. What are you looking at visually? I don't have a TV. I don't have cable. I own a TV set that's in my office closet, and once in a blue moon, I mean very rarely, I may pull it out to watch a documentary on Gaia or YouTube. But as for cable, I don't have that. Sometimes I need to have you need to have your own place of solitude. You need to have a space that's safe and peaceful, where at an instant, if you need to be by yourself or at peace or undisturbed, you got to have access to that. So you need balance. Let me just make sure I'm not going too far off topic here. Okay. Yeah. So sound is one of the most powerful healing vibrations that there are, especially music. Music is incredibly healing, psychologically, emotionally, I guess to a smaller degree, maybe even physically, depending. But that's why, like, I listen to live music a minimum of once a week, live in person. I'm fortunate to be able to do that in my little city. So every single Wednesday, I go to watch live music with friends. And any other time when it's summer or when there's music festivals on, then it's heaven for me. And I'm doing it twice a week. So music is tremendously helpful. It literally does. I feel music in my body, in my energy field. So it's a very easy way to heal and raise my vibration. Some people are very sensitive, become sensitive to certain foods, and that's because different foods have different vibrations. Better food has higher vibrations. So some people develop intolerances because lower vibrating foods no longer work for their energy field anymore. And I've experienced the same thing. Certain things I just cannot touch because not just physically, vibrationally, I feel off, and this doesn't work for me. We've had some excellent questions here tonight. So I'm just going to say, if anyone has any last few questions to round off, I'm going to have to jump off soon. But last chance for anybody still watching, if they have any final questions for tonight anyway. Fire away. And while I wait, just want to thank you all again for tuning in today. Next Sunday, same thing. I just don't know what time. I don't have a set time. Sundays are a bit trickier than Thursdays. Thursdays is always 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Facebook. That's Psychic Messages. So if you haven't seen that already, I've posted my Facebook link at the top of the comments. Check out my Facebook page and or my website. Sundays are going to be typically, I'd say, more later on in the day, late afternoon, maybe early evening, depending on where I'm at and what I'm doing. But this group, the Sunday Live, is just for basically what we're doing tonight. Thought exchange, questions, Q&A, information. That just reminded me, I do have a book that I published. It's available online called Simply Spirit. That actually has a Q&A section at the back of the book. When I was developing my channeling abilities, there's 30 questions and answers that I would channel to source and channel the answers I got. It's an excellent book. You can start at the back, the middle, the beginning. Each chapter is a unique topic. It's a pretty easy read. It's called Simply Spirit. The link's on my website. There are 2 books online with the same title. Mine is the one that has the picture of the blue sky and the beach sand. So it's a picture of the beach and the sky, and I think there's a bit of the ocean water in there as well somewhere. But it's called Simply Spirit, and the link's on my website. It's available on Amazon and a few other sites. And if you're in and around Eastern Ontario, Brockville area, I keep copies with me as well. So if that interests you, check that out. And thank you for all the excellent questions tonight. Maybe share with some of your friends who might find the questions very interesting. The questions were great tonight. So if you know anybody else who could benefit, maybe share it with them, have them watch the replay, and subscribe to my channel. And let's see if we can get a nice big group going and reach people. Same as Thursdays, I want to reach people all over the world and get I like to get different perspectives and a flavor of everybody's energy from different countries and different cultures. So thanks again for joining me. I'm going to hop off now, and till next Sunday or Thursday, if you're able to tune into the lives, if you'd like to see Psychic Messages from Spirit, you're welcome to do so. Hope you've had a great weekend, and until next time, thank you for joining in, and take care, everybody. Bye for now.